soon as they put the slide up, we'll get ready to go. Here we are, Augmented Urbanity. What we're here to do today is explain or explore how we leverage AR and different technologies to bring new realities to urban environments, share some of the lessons that we've learned over the last couple of years of deploying these technologies, and envision what we think digital twins could mean for the city. How do we revitalize the city and get people back into cities? How do we engage this in new ways? Because as we all know, cities have significant technological debt. Citizens lack effective tools to engage with their urban environments. I think Osman and I both have like 3 or 4 apps just to commute to work every day, and maybe some of you have similar experiences. And we've just transitioned from like the #1 rated engineering firm. We are one of the largest architecture firms, and really think about how the BIM model might be the new kind of digital twin of human experience. How do we unlock the information and stories and amplify data that is trapped in a lot of the different experiences that we design and create, and make them really accessible to humans? And that's what several of the studies that we're going to share today are all about. Because we do believe that this idea of digital twins has a lot of benefits for us to share with the world around us. How do we make experiences more accessible? Putting digital information in context. That's something I'm going to talk about a lot in the next 20 minutes. How do we make this tangible, bridging physical and digital environments to have a singular, impactful experience and generate value for citizens, for companies that we work for? And then extensibility. Digital platforms are far more reaching than physical ones, and how do we make them the greatest impact in the world by bridging physical and digital into a single experience? Because we can impact the world in a variety of scales, whether it be a building, a site, a lot of the things that you saw in the last talk, with design visualization, different tools we use to envision individual properties, versus the neighborhood, community, using these to engage communities is such a powerful tool, but also thinking about the larger context of the city, inclusive urban design. What is the future interface that all these devices that we're talking about here going to be for humans using it in the urban environment? And it takes quite a team and a lot of different practices to pull it together to create a digital twin, because we see it as the art of fusing data and story into a collective experience. And that takes architecture, planning, both physical architecture and digital architecture, research, experimentation programs to really drive new ideas and innovation. And then looking at that technology strategy, the incorporation of AI with experience design. It's one thing to develop technology and to design a space, but what do actually people do in that space? What are the stories and experiences being told? That's what we care a lot about. And making sure that companies, brands really have a place within that space so that we can make a vibrant future. So we are from Gensler, a pretty cool design firm, employee-owned, largest employee-owned design firm out there. I'm Greg Gallimore, a principal and leader of digital experience design.
And I'm Osman. I'm a creative technologist with the digital experience design team. And the first project that I'm going to talk about is just a couple blocks away. It's the AT&T Design District. And when designing an experience that's going to impact the whole plaza, you need a digital twin so that you can visualize and simulate your content in context. This helps us communicate with our content creators, with our vendors, and stakeholders better. That way we can see how our content will look from different vantage points at different times of the year and throughout the day. This also helps our the operations team to program and schedule content throughout the day. Similarly, since there is more than one touch point in that plaza, we had multiple digital twins so that we can approach the whole plaza holistically as a single experience. And throughout the day, the content follows a certain color story, and the operations team can also schedule different brand takeovers for the whole plaza, and the digital twin helps them to simulate them as well. To expand on this, besides our vendors and content creators and stakeholders, we also want to engage with our community through technology. So when Google and Adobe reached out to us to use the geospatial API in Adobe Aero, we wanted to use one of our meaningful social benefit projects. The main company that we were working with is Dignity Moves. Dignity Moves is one of our clients that we do pro bono work for. They are doing temporary housing for the unhoused in multiple locations throughout the state. And our main objective was to be able to show also the community how these developments will look eventually. And that way, we were able to overcome NIMBYism and increase our engagement with the community, as well as have different test fits so that we can do contextual planning better and rapid design iteration. To learn more about this project, let's hear it from the team.
How do you address
Can we get the audio up, please?
fast and
step back.
efficient manner, but that's also dignified? Dignity Moves is a big tent approach. It's partnering with key stakeholders that involves philanthropists, government, nonprofit, faith-based communities, volunteers, and businesses all coming together to provide a community approach.
When working on a problem that is temporary in nature, your solutions have to be much more immediate. Most people can't read plans and elevations, whereas with three-dimensional imagery, I think people understand what they've actually are going to get in the end.
If you can walk a site with a stakeholder, you get immediate buy-in because they can actually see the project on that site. And I think that really alleviates a lot of concern and answers a lot of questions. If we can get things designed and into the pipeline faster, I think we can help people.
By having their own private home, by having their own private shower and bathroom, by having laundry, they're able to return to a dignified life.
Cool. All right. Thanks for taking a couple minutes to watch that. Some of the meaningful work that we really find accessible through this technology to really put information like this in the hands of individuals, government stakeholders, and people who might not want this in their backyard, to make them feel okay that we are actually working together to solve problems in the world. And similar to that is a project we call Urban Periscope, really trying to think about how do we express data in urban environments and make that accessible to everybody. You know, how can we empower citizens through the use of AR to understand, to share data, and to really become, enabled participants in their communities? So we came up with this idea of Urban Periscope, which the Knight Foundation ended up funding to create the design and a prototype for an AR experience built directly in ARKit. It really helps citizens find intriguing characters and engage them through storytelling to understand different municipal data points that are just kind of hidden beneath the surface. There's just no way to expose a lot of that information. So here's the different steps that we go through. We wanted to equip the Periscope, allow people to understand this. We created a poster campaign that we put all across San Jose, California was our test site, to engage with. That allowed people to launch the app. It's a quick, app clip. It drops right into your phone. It's pretty easy to access. And then you take people through. We let them look through the lens, explore, kind of like Pokemon Go style, through the city. You get to see different pop-ups. Your phone can send you alerts. And then our little characters guide you through different data points throughout the city, allowing the streets to come to life in new ways, bringing data into focus. We focused on sustainability and climate data for our pilot prototype, as well as transportation data. So a lot of the information that you're seeing in these mock-ups is really kind of focused on, where are we not leveraging our city for energy capture, wastewater runoff, a lot of different issues that face our cities. We wanted to make this exposed for people to understand and be expressed. And do that through some gamified learning. How do we put engagement loops so people want to come back and do this over and over? But then finally, how do you kind of capture that and then post that on your own social media? That's kind of the exciting part. It gives you a little bit of contribution into the system. You're part of a larger story. But it doesn't stop there. We actually want to mine this data from the citizens themselves that would get vetted through different professionals that we created a content steering committee around. So there was a portal for people to contribute and make this kind of a self-serving platform that grew over time. It's just not limited to the initial initiative. And we learned a lot of important lessons from this. The first one, I think we've heard a lot during the conference, that assuming AR will be unfamiliar to your constituents, whether they be the public using it or the stakeholders you're pitching this to. A lot of people can't see past Pokemon Go. I mean, that kind of set the standard for what everybody understands as AR, but how do we build on that? Really kind of making these data sources come to life, and providing these solutions. Since 70% just last year when we were launching this still didn't know what AR was in the general public. The second insight that we've really developed, that the power of this is to show information and experiences at scale, but the promise is having it in context, directly relevant to the individual experience. Having this human scaled so that you can interact in meaningful ways is really kind of one of the most powerful benefits of utilizing AR. Having that visual comparison to your surroundings, and then having data overlaid directly in the environment. We think it's going to be, a growing benefit, especially as new things like Orion come online. And we want to empower citizens to have control of this data, to have access to it, and ensuring that data does have that real relevance to individuals. And we want to build a capacity for data literacy in our cities too. I mean, that's half the battle, is we have all this data, but we don't know what to do with it, and generating insights is really difficult. And then finally, we do believe that, augmented reality's benefit to civic environments is only going to be growing with the evolution of the technology and the things that we see even in this conference. That our old interfaces were a really great starting place. The next generation of interfaces that we're seeing come online are really going to propel this to the next level. Add that into artificial intelligence to reduce the friction of experience, allow the information to flow more freely, and then have all of that cloud-based so that we can pixel stream to our devices and really have a vibrant and low latency, frictionless experience with information is what we're really excited about. Because we do believe that there's this issue that all of us need to contribute to, that we need a shared platform for urban placemaking and engaging people in public to revitalize our downtowns, to revitalize cities. And it really starts with these kind of three priorities. We have to find safety in our city. We went to the Discovery District last night and I walked back alone. I did not feel safe. I went through 2 underpasses. It was not a great experience. If I had more guidance, if I had more sense of safety in my environment, I think I would have had a more pleasant walk. Having navigation so that we understand unfamiliar places helps add to that sense of safety, but allows us to feel empowered to be able to get through. And then having that real rich engagement, that want to have people engage with our cities to do amazing things. That's why we need a city twin. And a city twin shouldn't just be about a consumer endpoint or a planning and design tool that we often talk about or just for training, but really gathering and making an engine between all of these constituents. How do municipalities and policymakers plan for decisions, prototype new ideas in their environment, allow businesses to thrive through guidelines? If they want to see new lighting grants from the local energy company, allowing them to have a platform to understand and see the impact and why they'd want to get a different grant, how to improve that, how to visualize what a new recycling program is going to do to their storefront. All of these things can be really aided through a city twin environment. And then the engagement engine for the public to participate and have citizens have real-time access is going to be what we believe something that needs to grow in the future and that will hopefully be popping up in all cities to become that new urban infrastructure. Because cities are complex environments with a lot of different stakeholders, a lot of different constituents, all of which we see here have a stake in this area, from the municipalities, transit authorities, how we get around and navigate, the financial underpinning, generating value for our communities through corporate real estate, small businesses that are the economic engine powering our cities, to the nonprofits and community engagements, the museum, the cultural. How do we amplify the impact of culture through access to new art and ideas? All of this could happen in a common platform. So here to ask all of you to join with us, and let's transform our downtowns into the vibrant destinations that we know they all could be. And please go visit AT&T Discovery Dish if you haven't seen it. A digital twin running a contemporary, media environment that's used every day to map and schedule the whole plaza for the course of a year, multiple interactions and touch points. It's a pretty vibrant place. We were there at like 9:30 on Tuesday night. The place was hopping. It's totally transformed that part of downtown, and we're excited to share that with you all. Any questions before we depart? We try to go quick and catch up on time. All right, no questions. Please meet us after the show if you have any more questions, and enjoy today, tomorrow, and thank you, Augmented Enterprise Summit. Awesome show. Great food, too, no? Great food.
Thanks, everybody.